Xi Jinping is apparently skipping this week's G20 summit in India and threatening to skip November's APEC summit in San Francisco. President Biden says he's disappointed by the move. His administration's been bending over backwards to appease China, after all. Meanwhile, Vladimir Putin is setting up a meeting with North Korea's Kim Jong-un, a sign that talks on ammunition sales to Moscow are advancing. Joining me now is New York Congresswoman Claudia Tenney. She sits on the House Ways and Means Committee and the Science, Space, and Technology Committee. Congresswoman, this does not sound like very good news coming on either front.
No, not at all. And this is what happens when you have a president who's not only weak, has a team that is weak, mostly Obama leftovers, who are appeasing and thinking of the United States as less than the leader in the free world. And you see this weakness become an opportunity for China to continue to forge alliances with other countries, to use its leverage, its Belt and Road Initiative, to build infrastructure, to demand or really just get the fealty from smaller countries that are dependent on China. And one thing China does that we don't do, that the Biden administration, I think, is grossly at fault for doing, is China does not impose its values on other countries. It just says, we'll provide your infrastructure. We'll own you, though, in the end, which the countries often don't know. But we go in and oppose ESG demands, LGBTQ compliance, and all these things that have to do with our moral values, nothing that has to do with the country that we are aiming to try to do business with. And I think that approach has really been started under Obama and made worse under President Biden. And that's why you see these countries making the moves and looking for global dominance, which is exactly what Xi Jinping and China seek.
So earlier in the show, we discussed how your state is dealing with this massive influx of illegals. Today, Speaker McCarthy said finger-pointing frustration leading to a breakdown between the White House and New York City's Mayor Eric Adams. Now, you say your constituents should not have to bear the burden here.
Absolutely not. This is something that's been going on for a long time. I think last year during these mysterious night flights going into Westchester County in upstate New York, paid for by our own tax dollars from the federal government, no information given to our statewide elected officials, no information given about who these people are, who vetted them. I wrote a letter recently to Secretary Mayorkas asking for all that information. Of course, nothing has been responded to. And yes, this is going to be a burden on New York taxpayers. Sanctuary city policy, not just in New York City, but in many areas across upstate New York. Governor Kathy Hochul is part of this problem. She went crying to Joe Biden the other day, and guess what he said? I don't have time for you. The fourth largest state in the country, he doesn't have time for her. And here she is in a bind because guess what? She agreed to raise our taxes by $1 billion to accommodate more immigrants, and chastised and criticized every Republican who said, stop hurting and continuing to beleaguer the taxpayers of New York. And now guess what? They're out of money and they're asking for billions more to pay for a problem that could be easily managed if we just protected our southern border, held on to our northern border, which is also a huge problem right now. I represent most of the northern border in New York, all the way from in Jefferson County up in the St. Lawrence Seaway, all the way to Niagara Falls, along the shores of Lake Ontario. We have immigrants everywhere in this part of the world and the country. And guess what Kathy Hochul does? The minute the cartels get them across the border, she gives them valid New York State driver's licenses so they can go anywhere in the country with those licenses, and prohibits anyone from checking into their nationality, their immigration status. So this hurts us tremendously, and they wonder why this is happening. And now we have immigrants that have committed all kinds of crimes, brought fentanyl in, human trafficking, sex abuse, rape charges. You see all that's happening in New York City, and I'm from upstate New York. It's happening in upstate New York as well. We had students waiting to get into their dorm rooms because Kathy Hochul displaced these students and put in illegal immigrants, and they wouldn't get out. Guess what? When you give benefits from the taxpayers who didn't ask for this, these people are taking advantage of us.
Congresswoman, real quick, we've got about 20 seconds here. Impeachment talks. How likely are we to see the House of Representatives move forward on impeachment against President Biden?
We must impeach President Biden. We can do the inquiry, put all the evidence together. The evidence is there in plain sight, as I've said over and over. If we don't impeach Biden, we could stand to lose this next upcoming election and never take back our country and lose what we have is a constitution, self-governance, and freedom. I think it's essential that we get together as Republicans. We've passed other difficult issues. I think once all the evidence comes out, I don't think enough senators are going to be able to hide behind what's going to come out as evidence against Joe Biden through his proxy, his son Hunter. Let's hope that Chuck Schumer allows this to come to the floor in the Senate once we pass it in the House.
Well, a lot of Republicans around the country applauding what you just said there. So thank you again, Congresswoman Claudia Tenney. Appreciate your time today.